Good morning, friends. Good morning, gentlemen. Levi here, representing Dolo, daddies of lost little loved ones. So, um, today I want to tell you my story, why this is so important and relevant to me, and what my hopes and aspirations are for you. Um, so, years ago, I'm dating myself, but years ago they had anti-abortion rallies. That was before we came up with the term pro-life, right? So uh, I was in favor of that. I'm in favor of life, and um, but I said, well, and I prayed. I said, God, I want to do something, and I'm not a sign-holding protester. Uh, and then there was these crazy people who were bombing the clinics, and so and I definitely don't believe that's you, and that's what we should do. So I said, what can I do? How can I be a part of this? And over time, or sometime later, I should say, I got a dream or a word in a dream, and just a phrase: "To the unborn, you shall give." Oh, what was that? Height, stature, and I'll have to look that up. It's in our. I just read it to you. To the unborn, you shall give height, stature, and a voice. Yes, that's it. So, and I thought, like what you're thinking, what does that mean? I don't know, but God gives us puzzle pieces, and He likes the game. So, eventually, we'll get to that part. So I didn't know what that meant, but I felt peace about it, and I voted that way. Um, I participated that way. But so fast forward. Okay, this is the hard part that I am not. Uh, yeah, you can see my reluctance, can't you? But it must be told, um, for all our sakes. So years later, I met a lovely young lady in in church, and um, it was a beautiful love story. And I'll uh, I'll let you in. I don't give away my secrets, but my pickup line for church girl is, "So, what's your testimony?" Yeah, it worked. Anyway, um, so we met and got together, and um, over time, uh, not proud to say, our relationship got out of bounds, and she became pregnant with child. We became, and she was distraught. She didn't want that. She was having the morning sickness and all that. She lived. Uh, uh, we didn't live together, but I was excited to be a father. Finally, I get to be a father. This isn't the way I wanted to do it, but I get to be a daddy, and I was excited. I've wanted to be that ever since I was a young person, and uh, but I did my best to take care of her. We went to clinic visits and all that kind of thing. I had a little ultrasound picture of my child. And right at week 15, it was going to be Father's Day. As a matter of fact, Father's Day night, I I went when I came over to her place. I was happy singing "Happy Father's Day to me, Happy Father's Day to me," and I noticed, a dark countenance, and I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "I wish you wouldn't sing that." And I said, "Why?" I said, "I'm a dad. You're a mom." She said, "I had an abortion." And I just heard that again. I had an abortion. You weren't the one getting sick and throwing up. I've got to get on with my career. And I know it sounds selfish, uh, but what could I do? And da da da. And the best thing I can say is like in the movies when somebody gets something shocking and the camera focuses in on them and everything gets blurry and you hear wah wah wah. That's what I was hearing. I didn't hear anything else. And I not violent. I don't definitely don't hit women. Um, but as I stood there, it wasn't just like a broken heart. It was like a lawnmower to the heart. It was. I felt like I was dying. If I felt like I died and dying, it horrible. I don't know how else to describe it, but I couldn't unclench my teeth or my fists. I could not unflex my fists, and I had to turn and walk away before I did something stupid. Thank God I didn't. And so I did. I went away, and there was darkness in my whole. I don't. I almost don't remember those next few days. And I was contemplating things I'm not proud of. I just disclaimer. She was still in my love bubble. I had no thoughts of violence towards her. I was very angry. And this is going on. I probably don't want to say everything I was thinking. Let's just say I was, and it has no reference to her, but I was thinking, well, that will land me in prison. Maybe I could start a prison ministry from inside. I don't know. Maybe just ridiculous, you know, thoughts going through my head. And while I was going through all that was swimming and in my thoughts and all that darkness. And between that and between blaming myself, between blaming, uh, I don't know, I still didn't blame her very much. I just kept her in a bubble kind of thing. I don't know. But between all that anger and all that stuff, um, I, uh, I heard a voice right here, a little child's voice, and it said, "Daddy, please forgive mommy." Oh my. And that's when the darkness, uh, I guess it broke into water, into weeping. And I didn't think about it, but I hadn't allowed myself to cry. I was just angry and plotting and stuff. And so I And I think that began my grieving process, and got me out of destructive thinking. Um, yeah. So I heard my son's voice. I'm going to look right. Oh, I heard audibly my son's voice. Daddy, please forgive mommy. His name's Anthony, by the way. We'll get to that. Um, so in the process of that, I so I began processing the grief. Uh, Within a couple of weeks, maybe a month, um, we I went. Well, maybe for that first week or two, I wouldn't return any calls or anything, but I started talking. You know, found out what she was feeling, going through. Even tried to comfort her. Uh, anyway, so processing this grief thing. And if I hadn't have processed it, if I didn't process it, this would be a different story. I'd probably be wearing orange. uh, God, I don't want to think about that. But so yeah, it's important to go through the grieving process. There's a lot out there about grief and all that, but hey, I had an inside job. I had divine help. God allowed my uh, son, who is alive, to speak to me. And the words, forgive mommy. That wasn't even on the plate. I was thinking about what what I could do to that doctor. But anyway, so I want to say that it's important to do the grieving process. And for us guys, we stuff that a lot. Now, I went the anger route. Others, with other things, I could easily have just not exactly blow it off, but, go out camping for a weekend. That's my thing. Or go, do some sport or do something to blow off steam. Spend money, whatever, to just take a breath and then keep moving. That's not grieving, y'all. That's not processing. That's not okay. Um, but even beyond the grieving thing, God wanted to make sure that I knew that He didn't call this a loss. Not a total loss. There's still a living being that came out of our union. I love that. I remember that Will Smith song, Just the Two of Us, where he says, there's a line, he says, hey, when push comes to shove, you were conceived in love. And Anthony surely was. But there's much more I can tell you about. Well, I'll go into a little bit of it. When conception happens, that person, like you and I, are fully there and formed. I mean, they're growing. The earthly stuff is growing, and the body parts and the forming and all that. There's a section of our gestation when we look like tadpoles and have tails. It's very interesting. But anyway, it gives evolutionists something to talk about, right? But anyway, so when we're forming and all that, we are still earth and heaven union, and that is a unique being in all of creation. That is Adam's seed. That's a unique being. It's not like an angel or not like other creatures. It's this God and earth combination called human, called man. And so that person lives in heaven. Hey, Jesus is that also. That's what's fascinating about Jesus, too. He's that combination of heaven and earth, living in heaven and always on earth, and, all that. So, anyway, it's stuff like that I want to talk about in groups, in smaller groups, one-on-one and so forth, with men as this outreach grows. So that's my story. Nobody was harmed. uh, yeah, my baby's life was ended at 15 weeks. He knew, he felt, he was cognitive, heartbeat, all that. Uh, I don't know what he saw. Anyway, I don't want to dwell on that. But he is alive, and I said I heard his voice then, and I don't have a theological grid for this. I don't, I'm gonna step out in the heretic uh, arena and say I know him today, and it would be my pleasure to introduce my friends, my fellow dads, to your children who are alive now in heaven. I can say Anthony his appearance to me is he's in his mid-20s, not an infant still. Anyway, there's stories about how they can choose. I think that's all I need to say for this video. I don't know how long I've been rambling, but so that's my story, and my motivation is to help you, man. Oh, yeah, I'm missing a very key important part. Ugh, very key important part. During the course of my grieving process, I had a memorial service for Anthony. I had a little gravestone, and I was able to speak words of blessing over him. But at that time, it was more like an apology, or more like out of sorrows. I'm sorry you didn't complete. I'm sorry. And I know that was years ago. I know so much more now than I did then. In fact, with a community of us brothers, I want to do another one with you. Yeah, I want to do another speaking of blessing, because it's not just about the memorial, which was good, which was important to do, but to speak that Father's blessing. Oh, that is very powerful. And God assures me that, it's not that the children are everything's whole and wholesome and complete and all that in heaven, but still he says they need that. And that's my motivation for you to bless your child. He needs your voice. He needs you to give him all the things in a father's blessing. His count his or her belonging. I chose you. I want you. You have a place. You have a heritage with me. I own you. You know, my heart owns you. And anyway, we'll get more into that, the Father's blessing. But that is that's what we need, or that's what they need. That's what we need to get to, and to speak out. And I want to be there with you, for you, as we do that. You'll do that, I'll do that, and other men will do that as well. And just, um, I don't know, it's interesting. I know God is telling me this. They're not incomplete, but yet they need that. I guess it's like Jesus is not incomplete in any way, but he needs our love, and he goes after that. Hmm. Anyway, I rambled enough, and let's end it here. We'll continue our talks another time. This is really long, so if you're listening to this by now, you must really want to hear what's going on.